Sure did. What's the 441 Martians? Eat the thumbs up. Eat the thumbs up. How we living? How we living? Even when we ain't loving our circumstances, we love our existence. Don't let that get too far over your head. Peace and blessings, y'all. All that goodness. I'm Wise I. Welcome to Wise Vibes. Episode download. Ancestor planets. Planets are our family members. So, first slide, let's get right into it. We ain't gonna waste no time. This is just a little tag along, tap in for those that may need understanding of what the planets do in conjunction to our being. We're all star light, star dust. That's what our soul is made up of, and that's where our soul comes from, and we'll go back to when we die out of this avatar. So, as above, so below. That's the notion that we have understood as this matrix has been unveiling itself to us. The truth, in so many ways, for generations have been a little bit more diluted, but the Akashic records are becoming open to all those that, inquire. So an Akashic record is the inner records of truth, of things happening. So you have the ability to go within yourself and dig into the apparatus of knowing what the truth is versus what's not the truth, because you can go right in there, pull the file. How do you do that? You do that by connecting to your own spirit guide, your own spirit team. They will show you the truth. They will show you the things that you need to see, know, and experience. A lot of times they'll be forced onto you, but the more you know how these things affect you, the more you're able to involve your ability to help spirit help you. So each and every celestial event that happens amongst the stars plays out inside of your being, often subtly affecting the reality of our 3D experience. It's always a subtle behavior. Sometimes there's tower moments, and that's when we have not been on the right track, or the track is over and we're still trying to run that same track. So tower moments are very devastating to the 3D realm, but they're very necessary in the spirit, because you have to evolve, and there's a particular planet that involves themselves with tower moments, and we'll get into that. But just on introduction, as above, so below, we want to know that the above so that we are prepared for the below. Next slide. And everything works in succession. Our last episode, we talked about the chakra systems, and we talked about how the astrology worked in conjunction. And just like the chakra system, there are 7 main planets that connect to the astrology makeup. Each planet operates under a specific signature and house, working in unison with astrology and the chakra body. So if you can look over to the right, they got this example right here. And again, the beginning of the wheel is typically and usually Aries. They even have this wheel inverted as well, so it's backwards and everything, but it's just trying to portray the connection, how the planets work. And in the middle, you can see all the planets. So you got, at the top, you got Capricorn and Aquarius connecting with Saturn. And then actually, yeah, just look at it like that, because that's the root chakra. And then the next set will be the solar plexus, but we're looking at the Jupiter quality, which is connected to Sagittarius and Pisces. We learned that before. Mars is connected to Scorpio and Aries, and those are 2 octaves of fight. The octave of spiritual fight, or the unseen fight, or the investigative fight, the fight for love, is the Scorpio. And the Aries is more of that fight for self, that fight for spirit, that fight for physical fight. You know, two different octaves of Mars, and as you can see, each one of these planets have two different octaves. And you go to Venus, Taurus, and Libra, the Venus of self-love and the Venus of love for others. You get into the Mercury with Virgo and Gemini, the one that professes the truth and the purification of what is said and done. And then there's another one, Gemini, that connects and socializes and relates and is able to, glue the world together. And then you got at the bottom, you got Leo standing alone with that third eye chakra of the sun, Cancer standing alone with the moon, third eye chakra, and they both play a pivotal part in the P-now and the balance. And you want to constantly work with the moon and the sun. And even if the sun is visible during the daytime, you still want to work with the sun at night. So you want to understand how to devolve and use the moon to reflect your ego back to you, and to allow that P-now and that third eye knowing and that sense and that Akashic record to bubble up. And the Akashic records allows you to see into the future as well, not just the past. So you get good enough and privy enough with that balance, you're able to see the future, and that's where seers come from. Next slide. Planetary signatures. Our ancestors here to balance you out. Planets, they have personality, and the personality is given to us because we're planets. We're just a planetary system. We're just a universe. We're just, like I said, we're stardust, but we're made up of everything in the galaxy. And we just know of these planetary systems because they orbit, or quote-unquote orbit, around into this galaxy that we involve ourselves with. And I want to go over mostly all of these because they're pretty important. You got the North Node and South Node at the top of there on the left, and that's not a planet, but that is an important placement. And the North Node is a specific place between the moon and the sun and the earth, those three placements, and it's the highest point, furthest point away. And you're able to realize where you're going with the North Node. South Node is where you come from, your roots, the place where you used to doing things, the place where you are capable of holding on to, and you probably going to need to let go in this lifetime or this experience. So you got on the left-hand side, under that, you got Chiron. Chiron is the wounded healer, and it deals with the experiences of embarrassments, different betrayals, or different emotional wounds that are caused through the trauma of your 3D existence. And somehow, some way, those same traumas begin to give you the strength to teach others on, the same particular thing. The Black Moon Lilith is the shadow, the side of you that you need taming, the side of you that you may need to involve a fine-tune every other season, and make sure that you are not exposing your shadow in a abusive manner. You are gifting your shadow the ability to be free and do the things that you want to do, but you're also giving it a fresh balance and a fresh opportunity to present its gifts, because that's ultimately where you find your gifts. Black Moon Lilith, find that in your chart. What house, what signature? That's the place where you have the most difficult time balancing emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, whatever. But once you get balanced, you have the the gift of of such. So just look and see what that is. That'll help you out. White Moon Lilith. I don't even know if that's White Moon Lilith. I think it's called a different Lilith because I think it's 3 Liliths, but I don't work with that too much. It's pretty much the opposite of the Black Moon, so it's like your opportune space to um, prevail at in your chart. So it'll just be the exact opposite of the Black Moon. So you find out where that is, you look at the opposite side of that chart, and that's where that is. But your sun, your sun is your ego, but it's also your guiding light. It's the thing that's going to tell you the truth, your truth. It's going to show your truth, shine your truth on your light on your truth. Whole lot of truth. Then your moon is the reflection. It's going to shine and reflect your emotional side, and you may not show this to everyone in the existence, but that's the reflective side. That's the more nurturing side of you, the more intuitive side as well. You have Venus, another personal planet. That's the thing space where you see beauty. That's the space where you find your not gifts, but your enjoyment in life. The things that you may find. You may find a career in wherever your Venus is at. So look and see what house your Venus is, and your career may be there. Say your career is in the 6th house. You may be a good ass lawyer. You know what I'm saying? I say your career, but your Venus. You feel me? Mercury. Mercury is your psychological standpoint, your psyche that tames the space of perceiving. You're able to perceive and then also give a perception. So the better Mercury, the better you're able to communicate. And some people may start out with a great communicative skills. Some people may start off with Black Moon Lilith communicative skills. That just would mean that they would have a Black Moon in Gemini or in the 3rd house. That will give you that detriment to where you have to work up to your mercurial skills. And then once you get those skills, you may end up being a musician or a poet or something, way more beautiful than just a regular speech, driven person. Earth, Earth, your sun sign is really your earth sign. So whenever they say your sun sign is this, that's really your earth sign. But, just for symbolism, that we use the sun, I guess, whatever. Mars is how you do things, the way that you do things. And if you look in your chart, find where Mars is and what signature it is, the house that it's in, that's what you will fight for in this lifetime. And then the signature is how you will fight for it in this lifetime. So say you got 9th house Mars in Capricorn. So you're going to fight for the philosophy. You're going to fight for awakening. You're going to fight to awaken others. You're going to fight to, involve yourself in operating in the ability to travel, see new things, elevate your mind, and to develop a philosophy that is useful for others to do the same thing or pivot off of, like Tupac says, he may not change the world, but he's going to spark the rain that changes the world. And that's what a Mars in the 9th house would be involving. But then they got it in Capricorn, so they're going to go extra hard at achieving that dream. It's going to be kind of hard-headed, like nobody's going to stop them in any kind of format. Feel me? You got Jupiter. Jupiter is that organic, optimistic, blissful signature that allows you to be free and, sometimes a little too free. Jupiter got to dial back a little bit and they got to peep the game first before they grow into the optimism. But once they get on track, they grow the right things and it expands into a beautiful space. Saturn is your disciplinary. Saturn it can be your restriction. Saturn can be your maybe even your past life failure. You feel me? If you believe in that, some people don't believe in past lives. I be getting the comments like, you don't have past lives. So everybody has the right to believe what they believe. I respect and appreciate comments. So say what you say, speak how you got to. But if you believe in that, that might be where you will find your past life failure. Look at Saturn. But if you don't, just look at Saturn in your chart and you will see where it is going to be the restriction in your life. It is going to be a hard time in your life. You're going to have difficult battle with this energy, and you're going to need to just listen to what Saturn says and sit the hell down. Because Saturn don't play. But once you get, Saturn's drift, it's on. You get all of the gifts, like the elder granddad that got two Rolls Royces in the garage, but he ain't letting you drive nothing because you was a knucklehead. But as soon as you get your act right, you come in there with your collar straight, you got some sense on you, Saturn throw you them keys, man, you go right out. So check where Saturn is at. Neptune, that's your dreamer, that's your visionary, that's your I call it your spokesperson for God. Neptune is like the spokesperson for God. They gonna be generous. They're gonna be beautiful. They're gonna be righteous. They're gonna be a little bit delusional because they're so close to God. They can just see everything that that God has to offer and wants to put it in that 3D. So sometimes that delusion is like heavy. And it's not a delusion, it's just a vision from an unseen place, and it needs to be brought into the 3D. You dig? Pluto is that wreck shop, wreck house, kill the cat, kill everything if it ain't right. Pluto don't care. Checking where your house is, Pluto is at. Find out where Pluto is at in your house. And you're going to have a few hiccups in that house. You dig? Maybe you got Pluto in the 7th house. You're going to have some hiccups in relationships. You're going to have some karmic relationships. You're going to find it very difficult to get into good relationships or maintain them or let go of ones that you thought you were going to be in forever. So there's very difficult lessons in Pluto. You got Pluto in the 1st house, you're going to be a very, very, I could say miserable, but you could be mad in the beginning of your life because you're learning so much with a Pluto in the 1st house. You're going to have so much to learn in the Pluto in the 1st house. But Pluto in the 1st house is one of the most relentless, strength-driven, signs or placements that you'll have because they don't give up. They got that Aries energy in that 1st house. Pluto is the opposite of, not the opposite, but it's Scorpio-driven. But Scorpio is the other octave of Mars. So that Martian energy on top of each other is just a beast. But that's all of the planets. You got prospering, and that's like the bridge to your godliness or something. I don't really use that either, so we're not going to tap into that. Next slide. So we broke down the planets, and you can see just the basic little setup of how the planets are supposed to look in conjunction to each other. And they all move at different points and placements around the orbit. And then what happens is the angles or the angels, the angels conversate, by degrees based on if it's they got 1/12, 1/6, 1/4. I didn't even look at this when I downloaded it, but you can do the math and figure it out. A sextile is 30 degrees. the trines are 60, and then the squares are at 90. The opposites are at 180. So those are the main four that you deal with: trine, square, sextile, conjunct, opposite. And based on what's going on, so let's say Jupiter and Mercury are conjunct. So that will mean that each of those family members, they're in the same house together. They're kicking it, they're talking, they're collaborating, they're affecting each other. If you're talking about the Greeks, what Jupiter is Hermes, and Mercury is Hermes, and Jupiter is I don't even know who Jupiter is in Greek, but each culture has a deity form. So more appropriately for me, or for the people that know, the Orishas as well. So Mercury will be involving Ishu and Egula, Papa. You will be looking at Gemini and Virgo. But then when you got Jupiter, you have Pisces and Sagittarius, and that will be Ochosi, and that will be Shimija. So you will have those four all up in conjunction together, kicking it, talking, and influencing each other. So if you have balance in both of those, Mercury will be influencing Jupiter to expand its thoughts. Mercury will provide the thoughts. Jupiter will expand them, and you will see an expansion of thought processes that are being worked on during that conjunction. That's a good quick example. But if they were in opposite, Mercury and Jupiter, you would have to deal with the effect of Mercury trying to expand something and Jupiter not seeing why. Jupiter has got its own way of expanding something, and they're like in an optimistic way. Man, I don't want to do no work. But Jupiter's like, Mercury like, no, but we got to do some work to get where we're going. So opposites don't always get along. They both are on the extreme opposite ends. But if you can get an opposition to balance out, they tend to do the same thing as a conjunction would. It's just not as easily coerced. You follow how conversations work. Just the same if Mercury and Jupiter were on a square. Mercury and Jupiter, they on square. They on some hell no, I'm not doing nothing. Mercury might not even be giving Jupiter anything to expand. Your mind might have writer's block. Whatever may manifest. It can manifest in thought patterns. It can manifest into something physical, some experience, some situation. Planetary conversations happen in so many different ways because you have so many different combinations of effects going on at once. And metaphysically, no one day or no one person's energy is the same as another person. It's no way possible because there's so many different there's so many different ways for it to add up. The problem can add up in different ways. Next slide. So the weekly matrix. So this is dealing with the 7 main planetary structures that we was talking about with the chakra system, and it aligns to the days in this matrix system. So if you're dealing with the weekdays, the weekends, the structure of corporate work weeks physically are designed to make you weak. So the week leaves you in the days, and then the weekend just weakens your strength and ability to get out of this matrix that they have created for us. So if you involve yourself with these 7 planetary family members, aka planets, you can give yourself a little more balance and a little more etiquette to your spirit team to allow them to help you stay out of that weekdays. You don't want to be in the weekdays, man. telling you, man, on weekdays suck. So you got Sunday, the sun, that's the first day of the week. The sun comes out real warm, loving, and it sets the tone. So the sun comes out, and that's just your ego coming out in a healthy manner, expressing itself energetically, showing itself off, and feeling, exuberant in its skin. The moon is the next day for Moon Day, and if you switch these days over to the Spanish terms, I think they translate pretty good, because you got what I can't even remember, but Miércoles is Wednesday, so I remember stuff like that. But they connect to and Viernes is Friday, and Sábado is Sunday, and no, Sábado is Saturn, Domingo is Sunday. I can't remember what Monday is. But anyway, the moon is on Monday. You have that intuitive energy, and you really want to reflect on your inner self. You want to deal with your inner being, and you want to enlighten your inner self. The work week starts on Monday, and typically, you know how Mondays just suck. You know how Mondays drag. You don't want to speak to nobody. You know what I'm saying? Your mouth be on tight. You don't want to look at nobody. Anyway, it's because you should be at home, or you should be in your meditative state dealing with a moon day. I call them Martian moon days, because they're very important to the balance, because the rest of the week just gets turned up after that. So you got Mars, Tuesday. Tuesdays are very easy to get into argument days. I can really remember when I was just getting into this information, I was noticing, like, Tuesdays, and I was watching me or other people, just have a heightened energy, like a more combative energy. And then you notice on Wednesday, people want to talk a lot more. Thursdays are good because, you think it's because Friday's coming, but Thursdays are good because Jupiter have that positive, straightforward energy, that sociable energy, that optimistic energy. Fridays is the end of the week, so those are good days for having a date, going on, take your lady, take your man out on a date on a Friday night. It feels good to be out there. Saturday, those are more grounding days, more stable type of days. Get in the house, get your stuff done, wash the clothes, do your little workout, cook your little meal preps. You know what I'm saying? And then Sunday, you do it all over again. You feel me? But that's how you kind of help yourself stay into the natural balance of these weekdays, because these weekdays will get you in the weekdays, but the matrix is set up and structured one way. Then there's a natural matrix that we are living in. And you want to get to know that natural matrix and align yourself in that space and apparatus so that you can exist in, bliss. You feel me? And that's our quick download. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for vibing with Wise. Like, share, and subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Donate to the ministry, $2, $3. It don't even matter how much. You know what I'm saying? You want to do a reading, Moordreamzllc at yahoo.com. Tap in with your boy. I got my little website. Click right there. Moordreamz.universe. You know what I'm saying? Universe. But that was a nice little download. Y'all be blessed. Y'all be safe. Eat the thumbs up. Peace and blessings, family one.